this channel. My name is CA Kriti Goyal and I'm going to give you regular updates about CA Intermediate costing. So I hope you have a lot of fun, but don't forget to like, subscribe and share with your friends. Stay tuned for more updates.
Good morning, guys. Good morning. How are you all doing? Fine or very fine? Very fine, okay. Do you know which subject we'll be starting off today? Costing, okay. Are you excited about starting off costing? Yes, ma'am. Have you heard anything about costing before? Yes, what have you heard? Costing is? Costing is costing. Guys, come on. Tell me, what have you heard? Like your friends, your seniors would have told you that there is a subject like costing in CA Inter. What have you heard? You've heard good things or bad things? Both. Okay, tell me the bad things first. Come on, somebody who said both. What are the bad things that you've heard about costing? It's easy. Is it easy or difficult? It is okay, that's a very, very nice way to describe the subject. It is easy but difficult, like perfect. So today we since it's a first class today, we'll be doing a little bit of an introduction to the subject to understand what the subject is all about, how do we need to go about studying it, what does it have, what are the contents and things like that. So today will be like a chill class. Okay, and then from tomorrow our main syllabus is going to start. Okay, but before I move on to costing, a small introduction about me, right? So I'm sure you all know what my name is. Yeah, what is it? Yes, so my name is Kriti and I'm a chartered accountant. I finished my CA in 2012. Right, what was your age then? 10 years? 5 years. Who was 5 years old? Somebody said 5. You said 5. Okay. So you all were small kids that time. Yeah. So I completed my CA in 2012. It was a very interesting journey. So I was a science student. Okay. So I did my PCMB. Okay, which is physics, chemistry, math, biology in my 11th and 12th. And then I was preparing for IIT. Okay, I wanted to do engineering. And then I was not really very interested in engineering, but at that time the only trend was, if you're a science student, you either do medicine or you do engineering. Okay, there was nothing else. We didn't have people coming and counseling us, telling us, you know, there are so many other options that you can avail. So one day when I was, you know, studying, my dad comes in and he's like, you're not interested in engineering, why don't you try doing CA? So I'm like, what CA? We didn't know what CA was, because first of all, science student, we had no idea about commerce, and at that time CA was not even that popular like the way it is today. So then he explained something and I'm like, yeah, okay, cool, let's do it. You know, science, we always see, you know, the science versus commerce students. Science students have like a lot of attitude, right? They kind of think they are very superior. So I was like, oh, CA is commerce. Oh yeah, okay, cool, no problem. I can do it, right? You know, it was very easy. So then anyway, I studied for my PUC, finished PCMB, got a good percentage as well. I could have got into any engineering college if I wanted to, but then I was not interested. And that's when I decided to take up CA and my CA journey began. And that's when all the attitude that I had came down. Okay, so I think science students should realize that CA is not easy. So yes, so after that started doing CA. You know, CA takes about 5 years to complete. So it was very, very tough. At least you all know debit and credit. I didn't even know the meaning of debit and credit. So it was all the more harder. However, I cleared my CA examination in the first attempt by God's grace, and then completed my CA in 2012. And post that, I worked in Reliance for about 3 years. So I was in the internal audit team, and that was a fabulous journey as well. And after Reliance, I co-founded Advait. So you know Punarvas Jayakumar sir? Yeah, so both of us are co-founders to Advait Learning and Swadhyaya Reading Room. And now I've been associated with KSA as well. So that's why KSA Advait. And apart from that, I'm also into consulting. So the name of my consultancy is ThinkFin Solutions. So basically, I don't know if you all know about this, but in the earlier syllabus, there was a subject called ITT. Have you heard of it? Yeah. So a lot of people don't like that subject because that is IT related, right? What happens to commerce students when they think about IT? They don't like it, right? Like IT, oh, it goes above my head. I don't want to study it, right? Because it's too tech based and it's too much of coding and things like that, right? So basically in ThinkFin Consulting, I'm into IT. So I'm a CA, but doing everything related to IT and forensics. Okay, so now because I've been doing a lot of forensic work, my parents have coined the term called as frauditor for me. So I am the frauditor of the family. Okay, so that's how it works. So yes, so this is my background. And of course, I love teaching. I've been teaching since 2012. Ever since I cleared CA, I've been handling classes. I used to handle classes for foundation students as well. I used to handle economics, but now I have limited myself only to costing. I love costing. Reason being, it is very, very mathematical. So that's why, like he said, costing is easy but difficult. So it is difficult because of that element of math, which a lot of commerce students do not like, right? But I love math because I'm from a science background. I've always loved math. That is not the reason why I left science and moved to commerce. So yeah, don't worry. I will ensure that you guys will be very, very comfortable with costing. You don't have to worry at all about the subject. Okay. So this was a quick introduction about me. Now we'll quickly move to what the subject is all about. Okay. So there are certain FAQs that we ask when it comes to this particular subject, right? Certain questions that come to your mind. Okay, so we'll address those questions one by one. Okay, so the first question that comes to one's mind when it comes to this particular subject, just give me a second. Yes, so question number 1. Can you all see? Okay. Is this a theory paper? So technically it's not a theory paper, right? When you are going to be preparing for this subject for your examination, you will not really be looking at it from the theory aspect. You are going to be solving a lot of problems, right? But can you ignore theory altogether? No, you can't ignore theory because we will discuss the question paper pattern today only. I will show you how the question paper looks. Theory question comes in this particular paper and it will come for a good 14 marker. Okay, but that's a choice question. So if you wish to avoid it, you could avoid it, but you can't completely avoid it. Okay, so we'll see that later. So is this a theory paper? No, it is not a theory paper. So when you are studying, your methodology of studying should be like this is a practical paper. Okay, we will be solving a lot of problems in class, you will be solving a lot of problems for homework, all of that will be there. But can you completely avoid theory? No. Okay, so this is not a theory paper, but a theory paper. So costing will always give you diplomatic answers. It is easy, but it is difficult. It is a theory paper, but not a theory paper. Okay, so that is how it is going to be. Okay, second question. Second question is it mathematical? So how many of you like math? Yeah, I expected it. Very, very few. So in a class of like 100 students, only 10 will like math. Okay, that's especially if you're talking about commerce students. So that's fine. That is something which is expected. I would have been shocked if everybody would have raised their hands. So yes, it is mathematical. Obviously, we will be solving a lot of problems. There are only going to be problems that we will be solving. So yes, it is mathematical. But is it like some, Greek and Latin math? You know, you remember your foundation math? You all studied, what all did you study? You studied did you have trigonometry? No. Okay, you all studied calculus? Yeah, differentiation, integration, permutations and combinations. Are we going to use all of those things here? No, we're not going to use all of those things here. You know what is the maximum math we are going to use here? So I'll write down for you. This is the math we are going to be using here. Don't you all know this? Guys, you all are supposed to know this. This will come in accounts also, no? You all know fractions? You all know decimals? Oh, one more thing I missed out. Conversion of fraction to decimal, decimal to fraction, conversion to percentage, expressing something in ratio, correct? The toughest thing in whatever we are going to be using as far as math is concerned is equations. You all like x? I'm not talking about your x. I'm talking about the symbol x. Morning, morning. We need to joke morning, morning, right? Sometimes it's good to remember your x morning, morning. To understand that, wow, my life is so much better now, right? Yes. So, when it comes to equations, we have this particular symbol bothering us always, right? Do you know what are the two kinds of equations, guys? What are the two kinds of equations? Linear equations, quadratic you forget. Okay, that will never come in costing or anywhere, even in accounts it will never. Do you have quadratic equations in accounts? No, right? You never have quadratic equations. If you've studied it in your foundation, you can forget about it. Doesn't matter. What is one more type of equations? With two variables. In what? Okay. Yes. Yes. Very good. So the second type of equation, like he said, where we have two variables. So linear equations is one variable. Where we have two variables, what is it called? Simultaneous equations. Right? So these are the two equations that we will need to know for sure for costing. Okay? Now I'm very sure all of you know linear equations. That you have to know, otherwise you wouldn't have cleared foundation and come to inter. Correct? How many of you all don't know simultaneous equations? It's okay if you don't know, it's fine. Everyone knows? Okay, you don't know. Good, great, great. So, guys, if you all don't know simultaneous equations, what I would want you to do is, today, go back home and run through some YouTube videos and understand how you solve simultaneous equations. Okay, very, very important, because this will come in costing. You will have certain sums which are based on two variables that are unknown and you will need to find them. Okay, so simultaneous equations is the maximum level of hard when it comes to mathematics. Above this, nothing else will come. So, isn't it easy? So, should you be scared of costing as far as math portion is concerned? No, right? So, we know all this. We just need to know where to use what, that's all. That as and when we study the concepts, we will understand. Guys, correct? So, it is mathematical, yes, but it is not so difficult. Right? This is the maximum that we need to know. Okay? So, this is question number 2. Now, question number 3. Guys, how to study costing? Okay, so I'll tell you what. Like I said, costing is a mathematical subject. It is not really theory, but we cannot ignore theory. So when it comes to the theory part, at the end of this class, when our classes are getting over, probably the last class or the second last class, what I will do is, I will give you all a list of questions, theory questions that you need to study. Okay, if you study that, it's more than enough. Okay, so theory part is taken care of. Now coming to the practical portion of costing. Now I can assure you, okay, this is a challenge. Okay, let's say we start doing all the problems now in class. Okay, you're understanding the concepts fabulously well, you're able to solve questions in class with me. Once all of that gets over, at least a minimum of 15 to 20 people will come and tell me this after the class is over. Okay, what is that? You will come and tell me, ma'am, I have understood all the concepts really well. Okay, I have understood. It's crystal clear. I have no doubts, right? I can solve problems with you. But the minute you give me a problem to solve on my own, I read the problem, I understand it, I even know which concept will apply, but I don't know how to start. Classic problem of costing. Okay, very, very different from accounts. So the difference between your accounting and costing is, when you solve questions in accounting, you exactly know how to start. Why? Because accounts gives you a structure. Now if there is some internal reconstruction happening or some amalgamation happening, you know exactly what to do. First I have to do this, then I have to do this, then I have to do this. And then you will know exactly where to start, and then the problem will take you forward. The issue in accounts is your balance sheet or something may not tally. Correct? But in costing, you won't know where to start. Why? Because there is no structure in costing. In costing, you have to figure out a structure. You have to make the structure. You have to understand what the problem is telling you, and you will have to put a structure in place. That putting a structure in place will not come like this. So this is one problem which everybody will face. You will come and tell me, and I will tell you I told you so. Is that okay? So now what do you do to basically solve this particular problem? Like how to go about it? Guys, the only solution to this problem is, that's all. There is no other solution. So you have to keep practicing, keep writing. You solve the same problem 3-4 times. Solve similar problems. Solve new problems. Get hold of new problems and solve them as much as possible. The more you solve, the more you will understand the subject. Even reading the problem is an art. Okay, when you are reading the problem, there is a way in which you are supposed to read the problem. That is also an art which you need to develop while you are in this class. Okay, so the more you read, the more you analyze and understand the problem, the more you practice it, the better you will get and overcome this problem. As to where to start, you will after solving like a given number of sums, you will exactly know how to solve it. At least you will know where to start. And the good thing with costing is, if you figure out how to start the given problem, you will 100% be able to complete the problem. Unlike accounts, where you know how to start, but your ending may or may not tally, or may not be complete. You may get stuck in the middle. But in costing, it's the other way around. If you know how to start, then you will 100% finish. Okay, so this is one particular problem that all of you may face. I'm telling you beforehand, keep it in mind. If you begin to face these issues, don't get scared of the subject. Please know that it is very, very normal. Everybody faces this problem. Even I face this problem. Okay, and in costing, when we look at the problems, every problem is new. Sometimes what happens is, in the exam they give a new problem. I have solved at least 1,000 problems in my life in costing, more than that only, because we have so many RTPs, MTPs, previous years questions. Some new book will be released, they'll have some new problems. We've solved so many problems, right? I sometimes make the students also solve it in class. Suddenly in the exam a new problem will come. Never seen, never heard, some new adjustments, very normal. It's very normal. So don't get scared. That's all I'm saying. Is that okay? So this, keep this in mind. When this starts happening to you, please do come and tell me. Okay? So this is the third question. How do you study costing? You study costing by practice. That is the answer. That is the only answer. There is no other solution to this problem. Okay? Next. Question number 4. From where to study costing? Now this is a big question, because like I said, there are so many problems, so many different kinds of problems. Can we complete everything? So there has to be like some methodology, right, to look at the syllabus. So guys, I have given you 2 books, correct? One book, can you show it to me? One book is something called as the question bank. Can you show that to me? All of you have got it? Yes. So the book with the red cover is the question bank. Guys, this question bank has more than 300 plus problems across all the chapters in costing. Okay? We will be solving all of these in class. Okay? So it could be like we do a concept and then we go to the respective problem, we read the problem. Again, I will lay emphasis on reading the problem. That is the most important part of doing a costing problem. Doing the problem is not as important as reading the problem and breaking it down. You have to interpret the problem. You think of the problem as a code. That code has to be broken down and interpreted. If you do that well, then you will 100% be able to solve the problem. Okay, so we will emphasize or focus a lot on solving the problem and reading the problem bit by bit. Okay, so there are 300 plus problems. So either we will finish a concept, go to the problem, solve it immediately, or I will explain the problem to you and ask you to do it for homework, and the next day, because we can't be all about spoon feeding, right? I will not be with you in the examination. Here we are together, but in the exam, what if they give a problem like that? You should have the confidence to solve it without my help, right? So I may give it to you for homework, where I may tell you to try it. Maybe we'll get the answer, maybe we won't get the answer. That's absolutely okay. And the next day when you come in, we will discuss it together and close the problem, right? So these problems in the question bank will be solved by all of us in these classes. Okay, so you don't have to worry. Now these questions have been picked up from various sources, okay, and I have not really put similar questions, because what is the point of solving similar questions? Just by changing the figure, solving the same question, there is no value addition there, correct? So these 300 problems that have been put here, they are absolutely unique, okay? They are all different. So we are going to be tackling different kinds of problems. Now you may have a question, ma'am, is this enough for the examination? That question cannot be answered. Why? Because if we do 300 problems, the 301st problem will come in the exam. If we do 1000 problems, 1001st problem will come in the exam. So that is ICAI, we can't do anything about it, right? So it is simply that this solving these questions will give you the confidence, okay? And they are all different questions. They have been picked from previous year examinations. They have been picked from RTPs. They have been picked from MTPs. They have been picked from your ICAI material, okay, and other sources. Many other sources, free resources which are available, where I felt that, you know, this particular question is really good. It will help you smoothen your concepts. Then I've included it in the question bank, okay. So this question bank Very, very helpful. What I would suggest you to do is, you solve it with me in class, you understand the concept, go back home and solve it again on your own without looking at the solution. So that will help you in understanding the concepts better. Okay. Second book, you have something called as the LMRC. Can you show me that book? Yes, yes. So guys, LMRC is very, 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 very important because it consists of all our concepts. This 100-page book or whatever number of pages book is going to be very, very useful for you for understanding the concepts which you are going to be applying in the problems. Okay. Apart from this, we are going to be writing down a lot of things in class, don't worry. Okay. And just one day before the examination, you will have a lot of, you won't have so much time, right? You can't sit and, you've seen the ICI module, there are 2 modules, correct? You won't have the time to sit and go through each and every page, right? So this LMRC will help you in revising all the concepts in the last minute. Very, very, very helpful, okay? And we will be predominantly using this book in class to understand the concepts, breaking down the concepts. You will be writing down a lot of things, right? And your question bank, okay? And apart from that, for theory, you will be using the ICI material. That is good enough. Lot of points are there which is important for you to attempt the theory question that comes in the exam. ICI material is good enough. What we will do is make a list of important questions that we need to study, the kind of questions they ask, because again it will not be possible to study everything as far as theory is concerned. Guys, is that okay? So now you may have a question, is this enough for me? Guys, in CA first of all, there is nothing enough. Okay, whichever subject, not just costing, any subject. Is it enough? Never enough. Okay, so now, do I need to do anything more than this? Yes. Okay, what you need to do is, this we will solve in class together. So I think our classes will go on, like we have classes in 3 legs. We have classes now, next month and the month after that, like in batches. So until you're with me, we will solve all these questions together. After that, your study preparation will start, correct? So when you have finished studying everything, the entire syllabus, you have gone through all the problems that we have solved in class together, you will on your own solve questions from ICI material. Very, very important. Some questions are already. Yeah, okay. Okay, so guys, ICI material will already cover a lot of problems that you would have solved in class. The ones that we have not covered are the easy ones. Okay, so I would want you to solve those questions on your own. Second, if you have solved it, great. If you haven't solved it, please solve it. Okay. Second, look at all the RTPs, MTPs, previous years, questions, at least the last 10 years. Okay. Now this, some of the questions will already be part of our question bank. The ones which are not, I would want you to solve. And very, very important, how do you solve them? After you study the entire syllabus, after you're confident, only then go and solve them and time yourself. Okay, very, very important. I will come to the timing part in a while, which is the next FAQ. But you can solve these questions on your own to test yourself if you've really understood, if you are really confident and feel good before you go to the examination. Beyond this, no need to solve anything else. I can assure you, if you come to class regularly, if you do your bit, that is, understand all the concepts, go back home, revise, finish all the homework problems, you will be very, very, very comfortable with costing as a subject. I can assure you. Those who do it will be comfortable. Those who don't and come and cry to me later, you never did it, that's why you are not comfortable. Very simple. Okay? So this is the fourth FAQ. Now the fifth FAQ is the methodology that you follow to study. Okay guys, so this is some part of it we've already discussed. Okay, so when it comes to the questions, we read the question very carefully. Like I already told you, we have to focus on reading the question. That is the most important part. I'm reiterating it again and again and again, because it's, you think of it like a puzzle. The more you read, you will get clues to solve. All the clues to solving the answer is in the question. Everything is in the question. Okay, so reading the question is the most important part of a costing problem. Okay, so we read, we solve, and we practice. That we've already discussed. I won't be again going through that, right? Theory also I have told you, we just have one question to tackle as far as theory is concerned, which may be around 14 marks, right? I'll give you a list of important questions from where we need to study the theory part. See, when I say theory, no, I'm talking about things like what are the advantages of this? What are the disadvantages of this? Define this. That is theory. Okay. The other part of theory in costing is the concepts. Concepts you cannot study like this. Concepts you have to study everything, because those are the concepts that you're going to be applying in the problems. You need the help of those concepts so that you can solve the problems. You will see once we start off the syllabus, you will see what I'm talking about. Okay, so theory also we have discussed, not a problem. 3, concepts, that also we have discussed, right? Concepts are very important for application in problems. So your LMRC and the corresponding other book that you will write down things will be helping you as far as concepts are concerned. So now, guys, very important, we will be looking at the concepts with a lot of examples. Okay, I will be giving you, because only through examples and stories can a given concept go and get fixed in your mind. Correct? Now if I tell you, controllable costs are those costs which can be controlled by management. What did you understand? You'll know it. If I tell you to repeat it, you'll repeat it. But did you understand? No, right? But to understand, we need an example. If I give you an example to make you understand what this statement meant, then you will be able to understand the concept better, right? So we will be writing a lot of examples. So now what I want you to do is have 2 notebooks, okay, with you, 2 notebooks. So one notebook is for solving problems. Okay, let all of these problems be together in one book, because you all are studying costing now. When will you write your exam? After a couple of months. Okay, today you will remember. After 1 month, if I ask you the same thing, you won't remember anything. I don't remember what happened yesterday only. Okay, so keep everything together. So one notebook will be for solving all the problems, chapter by chapter. Okay, chapter 1, these problems. Chapter 2, these problems. There should be nothing else in that book. The second notebook is for concepts. So of course, the LMRC consists of all the concepts that we need to basically solve the problems. But in a given concept, there will be really small things that we will be studying. Maybe for one concept, I may give you 5 examples or 3 examples to make you understand better. One example will be there in the book, but the other 2 I will give you in class. Correct? So I want each and every one to write those examples in your book in your own words. Okay, because today you may understand the concept, 1 month later nothing will go into your head. So if you have the book in front of you with examples, it will be crystal clear. Okay, so to make some additional pointers, to write something new that is probably not there in the book, that is possible, right? If I put everything in the book, then nobody will attend the class, correct? So please keep 2 notebooks, and preferably, okay, I want you all to use colored pens for the concepts, because we will be drawing a lot of diagrams, we will be putting a lot of charts in place, there will be a lot of examples. So try to get a blue and a black and a red pen maybe, so that there is clear distinction. I want your revision process to be as easy and seamless as possible. So if we start the process today, tomorrow when you are revising, you will be very happy. It will not be stressful for you guys. Is that okay? So I want you all to follow this diligently, each and every one in class. Okay, I know the boys could be a little lazy generally with respect to these things. If you all are not, then great. I'm very, very happy about it. Not that some girls are not lazy. Sometimes girls also can be lazy. So don't hashtag me and say ma'am is biased towards boys. So I mean biased against boys. There's nothing like that. But I'm just generally saying, I want each and everybody to do this. Okay, it will really help you. You will be very thankful to me before your exam that good we did this, because my revision process was very seamless, because 1 day before the exam is very, very stressful. Okay, apart from this, this is a very, very important point, guys. In costing, things are interconnected. Okay, like you see the first chapter. Okay, if you miss even 1 class in the middle, you're done. Don't come. I'm seriously telling, don't come to class then. Reason being, the first chapter forms the foundation to your entire subject. Entire subject. You miss 1 class filled with concepts, you really will not know what to do for the remaining classes. Okay, so if you do not attend classes regularly, don't come. Everything is interconnected. Everything. So obviously when I have taught you something, the next time that something is coming in another chapter or in a problem, I will take you back to that, oh, we studied this that day. Do you remember? We studied it like this. That's it. Obviously the revision part is your responsibility. Correct? So please, I'm again telling you guys, attend the classes on a regular basis. You miss 1 class, you're done. Especially the first 5 or 6 chapters. They are all heavily interconnected to each other. So you can't even afford to forget what you studied in the first class or the second class. All of that will come later on. So you need to be very, very thorough. You need to keep revising and re-revising, and there are such minute, tiny points which you have to remember. So I will remind you that we had studied this, but obviously we will not be studying it again. So you have to attend all the classes regularly. You will have to do the homework regularly. I will ensure that I don't overload you with a lot of homework. Max to max, maybe a problem or 2, which you will have to go back home and do, which is not a lot. You can manage that. I understand you all are very busy people, correct? Probably more busy than us. Till what time do you all have classes on a daily basis? Okay, and do you go to college? No. So after 3:30, what do you all do? Oh, so you all are not so busy then. I can give more homework. No, 3:30 ke baad you all are free, right? Until the next day. So after 3:30 you have only studies to do. Correct? Everybody here? Everybody is in the same boat, or is somebody attending college, or obviously none of you all have articleship, right? Yeah. So yeah, then you are not busy people. I thought you all had, are there any direct entry students here? Oh, okay. So you all have articleship, right? No articleship. Okay. So no, they're not busy then. Then I can give more homework for sure. So yeah, okay. So then I'm not emphasizing on that. Homework has to be done. That's it. End of story. Okay. So guys, so your methodology is very clear, right? We come to class, we attend all the classes, go back home, and you need to revise everything, finish your homework, and come back the next day. If you do this, your concepts will be perfectly clear. Apart from that, you need to study things on your own by practicing. And I've already told you from where to practice. Guys, is that okay? So as and when classes are going on, maybe you can, if you want additional problems to practice, you can use the ICI material to practice the additional problems. That's all. Most of the problems are there in our question bank only, but in case something is not there, it may be very easy, so you can do it on your own. Guys, is this clear? Okay. Next, FAQ. Okay, this is fairly important. Guys, very, very important. Reason being, you may know everything in costing. Let's say you love costing, you become a punter in costing. Okay, you know, you can look at the problem and you can do Bhavishyavani, this is going to be the answer, let's say. But if you don't know how to present it in the exam, anda, you will get 0. Presentation is so important, and ICI gives utmost importance to presentation. So even in accounts, it's the same thing, right? I'm sure you have your accounts classes been over? Have they started? They started. So I'm sure your accounts faculty would have told you a lot of things about presentation, where when you are drawing up accounts, you write a heading, correct? P&L account or whatever account, correct? So in just like that, in costing also, we will have a lot of accounts that we will be drawing up. Okay, so you need to have proper headings, subheadings in place. Very, very important. You're going to be writing a lot of formulae. Okay, like A is equal to B into C. Just giving an example. So you'll be writing a lot of formula because there are going to be a lot of calculations, correct? Guys, you cannot just write the formula and leave it there and start solving. You have to explain what is the formula trying to tell you. What is A, what is B, what is C, you need to tell, right? Presentation is very, very important. Okay, many times we get the answer, correct? Let's say you've been asked to calculate the cost of something, okay, cost of a project. Okay, say you have arrived at a figure 1 lakh. What is 1 lakh? You'll just write 1 lakh and leave it there. What have we calculated? This is cost of a project. 1 lakh what? Donkeys, monkeys, you. Then rupees. This is cost of a project. So you need to put the correct unit there, guys. Very, very important. You don't put unit, you will lose marks. There are marks for every damn thing in the paper. Quarter mark, half mark, quarter mark. They'll calculate everything and not give you marks. Very, 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 very important. Okay. Please ensure your handwriting is legible, guys. Please ensure. Let it be dirty. Let it not be nice and beautiful. But let it be readable. That's all I'm saying. I should be able to tell the difference between E, A, C. So let it be legible. Very, very important. See, if the examiner cannot understand, the person who's correcting your paper, if they cannot understand what you have written, they'll not award you marks. They're not going to waste their time in understanding and interpreting. If you want to put your handwriting there as a code, the person correcting your paper is not bothered. They have 200 papers to correct on a daily basis. They do not have the time to waste on one person. So please ensure your handwriting is legible. If you feel it is not legible, start practicing now. Suddenly, if on that day you realize, oh, my handwriting is not good, let me try to write neatly, you'll never finish the paper. Very, very important. Okay. Next, one common mistake that we make. let's say your answer is 687. Your answer is 687. But you realize, oh no, it is 697. I have written 8 there. What will you do? Most of you do this. I also do it. But wrong. Guys, please avoid overwriting. You feel that it is wrongly written, simply do this. That's all. That's all. 1 second more of extra effort in scratching and writing the whole thing. Do not overwrite. Very, very important. See, these are very small points. We know it also, but we don't want to follow it also. So that's why I am making it clear in the form of a structure that please follow it. Okay, another very, very common mistake that we do. Let's say you have written 687, but let's say the answer was 6687. What will you do? Many of you all do this. I also do it. I am not saying I am any better than you guys. Maybe worse only. But we need, what I am trying to say is we need to be aware, guys. We need to be aware when we are writing the answers in the examination. So do not do this. Very bad. You scratch it out and write again. Please avoid all this overwriting, scratching business. And if you're scratching also, let's say you want to scratch, let's say this entire page is wrong. While solving the problem, you realize something has gone wrong, you want to scratch. Don't sit and do all this. Very simple. Just scratch it out. That's it. And move to the next page. Don't draw designs. I have seen it on, I have actually seen it on answer sheets. Like people who, sometimes they give it for retotaling and things like that. Then they'll come and show their paper to me saying, ma'am, why did we lose marks here? I have seen, I'm like, why have you drawn these designs in the paper? Don't. Keep it as neat and professional as possible, guys. Is that okay? So guys, presentation matters a lot. Every step counts. So very simple. When it comes to presentation, some of us may not be the best at presenting, correct? Because we may not know what to write and what not to write. Okay, simple things like, let's say you have assumed something in the problem. Okay, you have assumed that this particular expense will come under this head. You have assumed, problem has not told you anything. And you have taken it under that head. Now the thing is, you need to write a note for that. Just like in accounts, you all write anything that you assume, you write a note stating, I have assumed that this should come here, correct? So same thing in costing. You make any assumption, you are doing anything extraordinary, please put a note in place so the examiner knows what you have done and where you have gone. Link all your notes to the problem. Very, very simple. So how, like I was saying, some of us may not be the best at presenting. So how do we go about this? This could be a very big problem for a lot of us. We may know the concepts, but we may not know how to present in the exam, because of which we may lose marks. So what do we do? Guys, basic assumption in mind. This assumption has to go and get stuck in your head. It has to go cemented there. It has to go and get cemented there. What is that assumption? The person who is correcting your paper, he or she does not know anything about costing. You have to assume this. The person who is correcting your paper has no idea about what this subject is about. Your answer key will help them understand the concept. This is the assumption that you need to have. So how would you present your answer key so that the person who knows nothing will understand something? That is how you need to present. Now if I simply write something and finally answer is 4,500. What are you understanding here? What is A? Okay, 30 could be A. You have substituted 30 for A. But what is A? What are we doing? Did you understand anything? No, right? So you need to write, what are we trying to find out? What formula are we using? What is A standing for? What is A? Is A the cost? Is A the number of students? What is B? What is C? Then you have substituted, then you have shown the working, and then you have arrived at the answer. And answer also you have just left it at 4,500. What 4,500? What is the unit? Is this quantity? Is this cost? Is this number of students? What is it? So if you write like this, hari hari mein, the examiner is not going to understand anything. And then what are they going to do? They are not going to waste their time in analyzing what you have written. They'll see, okay, they have not explained the formula, half mark minus. Then they'll see, okay, I have no idea from where this part has come. I'm minusing 3 marks here. This answer is right, but again there is no unit. So again I'm minusing half marks. So out of 5 marks, you will only get 1 mark for this answer. Though your answer is correct, though your understanding is correct, though your conceptual clarity is there, you have arrived at the correct answer also, but you have not presented it well. So I may know that so and so is really good at costing, they are really understanding, they probably know the subject too well, but the examiner doesn't know you, and the examiner has 200 to 300 papers to correct on a daily basis. Just think about this scenario. They have fought with their respective husband and wife and come to the college to sit and correct papers. On whom will the frustration come out? On you. It will, it happens. It's human psychology. That's what happens. You know, I'm not okay with respect to something that has happened in my personal life or in my professional life. It comes out on something else. Because ultimately at the end of the day, I am frustrated. That frustration will come out in some form. Correct? Hasn't that happened with you? You will be very upset or angry with your mother or father. It will come out on your sibling. If it's a younger sibling, you'll simply shout, scream, because there you have power, right? So here examiner has power over you. They are not going to sit and waste time in analyzing, oh, this poor boy or girl has written like this is what they meant. Nah, I don't see the answer key like the way it is supposed to be, minus, that's it. I'll just award 1 mark. I'm not losing anything. Who's losing? You are losing. So we need to be very, very careful as far as presentation is concerned. This has happened to a lot of people I know, and very, very brilliant students, like they were very good in the subject, extremely knowledgeable as far as the subject is concerned, conceptually clear, yet a person who was supposed to get 80 ended up getting like 40, which is like really sad, despite knowing everything. So that's why I thought we should probably discuss this aspect separately under presentation. Okay, so we have to be very, very aware and careful as far as presentation is concerned. When we solve problems in class, we will keep this in mind only and solve. Each and every point we will write, I will write and you will write in your respective books. And exactly like the way we solve problems in class, you will be solving problems in the examination. Guys, is that okay? Everybody? Yes, okay. Last part. Question paper pattern. Now, I'll show you the question paper. See this. This is the September 24 question paper. Just an example. So guys, your costing paper will come to 100 marks, correct? Of these 100 marks, the paper is divided into 2 parts, part 1 and part 2. Part 1 will be MCQ based, okay, and MCQ they never give. ICI never releases any of the MCQs. So this paper does not consist of the MCQs. Of course, when people who would have attempted this particular paper, they would have had a separate MCQ sheet. They would have written the answers and given back the MCQ sheets to the person invigilating. So we don't have the MCQs. They cannot show you what MCQs came in this particular examination. Okay, so 30 marks will be MCQs. MCQs like, you know, they will give you a problem and then they'll give you questions based on that problem. Sometimes even concepts they can ask. So that varies, it depends on them. So guys, 30 marks is MCQs. If your concepts are to the point, can't you score 30 marks? Very simple. Okay, let's say you scored 20. How much more do we need to score? 20 more. I'm just saying if this for a particular person who's very afraid of costing. So I'm trying to imply that don't be scared of costing. Suppose costing is not your favorite subject. How much do you need to score? 40, no? To pass. So in that 20 you can easily get in MCQs. 20 more you need to score. Can't you score 20 more? Very simple. It's not a very difficult task or something which is rocket science. Correct? Very simple. So that's why I'm trying to imply don't be scared. It is very easy. Okay. So part 1 is your MCQs. Part 2 is your descriptive examination. Okay. So descriptive examination. So these are the instructions which they have given. You can probably read if you want. I can email this paper to you guys if you want it. You can see it at leisure later. Coming to part 2. Okay, part 2 guys is 70 marks as you can see here. Okay, out of 6 questions, question 1 is compulsory. Everybody has to attempt it. Question 2 to question 5. How many questions are that? 5 questions. Correct? Sorry. Yeah, 5 questions. Correct? 5 questions may you have to attempt any 4. So you are given a choice of 1 question. Okay. Now question 1 if you look at, which is compulsory. Okay. So you'll see that here. Guys, that is 20 marks. The first question which is compulsory is 20 marks. So you'll see here, this is question number 1A, 5 marks. Then B is 5 marks. C is 4 marks. Oh sorry, it is 14 marks, not 20 marks. 20 marks was in the older syllabus. So question number 1 is 14 marks, compulsory. So 5 plus 5 plus 4. Okay. Question number 2 to question number 5, out of 5 questions I'm supposed to attempt how many? 4. Each question is 14 marks. Again. Okay. So you can choose any 4 that you like. But question number 1, compulsory. Everybody has to attempt it. So if you see here, question number 2. Now again guys, 14 mark question will be broken into parts. So let's say question number 2, this is totally 14 marks, but this may have parts like A, B, C. Now these subparts could be any number. It could be, maybe 8 plus 6, just 2 parts. It could be maybe 9 plus 5. Ultimately it will total 14. It could be 7 plus 7 also. Or it could be 5 plus 5 plus 4 also. If they want to give you 3 parts, that is left to them. Okay, so there is no such rule that if it is a 14 mark question, the subparts also will be like in a particular combination. It could be any combination. Total will be 14. Is that okay? So if you see this particular question, this is question number 2. Question number 2 has part A, which is 8 marks, and it has part B, which is 6 marks. So 8 plus 6 is 14. Over. See this? This is question number 3. Question number 3 has part A, again 8 marks, and part B, which is 6 marks. So again 8 plus 6, 14. Question number 4, guys, 9 marks, part A. So again there is no set combination, it could be anything, correct? So if this is 9, I am assuming B will be? So if you see here guys, in this question, which is question number, this was question number 4. Part B, this is 5 marks. 2 plus 3, 5 marks total. Next, question number 5, part A is 7 marks. Again, there is no set combination. Whereas part B is again 7 marks, right? So we had questions where it was 8 plus 6 combination, 8 plus 6, 9 plus 5, 7 plus 7, right? The last question that you see here, 6th question, this is your theory question. So the theory question comes as part of the choice. So somebody who's not very confident with problems and you feel that you're not up to the mark as far as problems are concerned, you're not very confident on getting the correct answer, you can keep in mind the theory question and leave out the problem question. If you ask me, I would leave out the theory question, because again, theory, they expect you to write that in a certain manner, which is exactly like the way it is in the ICAI material. So again, getting marks in a problem based question is easier than a theory question. So even if you have written, like see, they've given 5 benefits of digital costing system, 5 marks, you write 5 benefits, 5 is never enough for them. If they've asked you for 5, write 7. That's how you attempt theory. Okay, and those 5 benefits, maybe you have written more practical benefits, but if it doesn't match with what is there in the ICAI material, out of 5 you will get 3. So you're still losing out on marks. Okay, so try to be more well versed with the problems. As a backup, keep this question to attempt. In case something goes badly wrong during your exam, where the questions that they've given are very hard and you really can't match up to understanding the concept, there's something out of syllabus they've given or something that you really didn't know, you're not comfortable with, then leave that and attempt this, is what I would say. But there will be one theory question like this amounting to 14 marks for sure in the paper. This is what I was trying to tell at the beginning. Okay, so this is your September 24 paper. Guys, is it okay? So this is how your paper is going to be. 30 marks MCQs, 70 marks descriptive. In 70 marks descriptive, question 1 is compulsory. 2 to 5, the questions, you will have 2 to 6, sorry, the questions will be choice based. Out of 5 questions, you are supposed to attempt 4 questions. Each question amounts to 14 marks. Is this clear? Everybody? Okay. So now, before we move on to the overview of costing, do you guys have any questions? Yes, Vijay, do you have any question to ask, or do you want to say anything? Now you can say. Now he won't have anything to say. Okay guys, so the next part is the guys, this is your paper 4, right, which comes in group 2. So this overview will tell you what all chapters we have in this subject and how to go about it. Okay, so now the way I have divided these chapters may not be the same as the way ICAI has divided the chapters. Okay, now why have I divided these chapters in this manner? Because this is the sequence in which we will be studying it. Okay, because if you study it in this sequence, then the interconnections between the various chapters will be very easy for you. Okay, so I'm writing it down. What I have done is I have divided all the chapters that we are going to be studying in costing in 3 parts. Okay, how many parts? 3 parts. So I think we totally have 13 chapters. We are dividing it in 3 parts. Part 1, part 2 and part 3. Okay, so part 1. Guys, shh, listen, enough. So, all the chapters that we have in costing are divided into these 3 parts. So, the first leg are these 5 chapters. Okay, they are like heavy duty chapters. Why? Because they are all concepts. Okay, and all these concepts that you learn in this 1 to 5 you will be using in the remaining chapters. Okay, so the first chapter is obviously introduction to cost sheet. This chapter will have maximum amount of theory. So though the classes are not really theory classes, and if we have, let's say, 100 classes in costing, 90 of those classes are going to be only solving. That is how it's going to be. But the first chapter, because we don't know anything, we just know the name of the subject is costing, it is paper 4 in group 2, that's all, and Kriti ma'am is handling the class. Do you know anything else? No. So this first chapter will be a lot of theory. Okay, so kindly refrain from yawning. Okay, that's it. Once we finish this, everything else that we are going to study will have some concept, then problems, some concept, then problems. But first chapter, couple of sessions will only be theory, concepts, and then only we will be moving to problems. So I am anticipating that by the end of this week probably we will start off with our problems. Till then we have to understand concepts. Guys, is that okay? So second chapter is material, labor, overheads, integrated, non-integrated accounts. This is the crux. Okay, whatever you study here, you will be applying here and here. So the second leg of costing consists of different methods of costing. These are the different methods of costing. At this point in time, don't try to understand the meaning of method. What are these methods? You will not understand it now, obviously, because we don't know anything. I am just giving you an overview, that's all. Okay, so what are the different methods that we are going to be studying? Job and batch costing, process costing, JPBP is joint product, byproduct costing, and service costing. In the old syllabus or earlier, there used to be one more chapter called contract costing, which is removed now. We don't have that chapter, and a lot of students used to not like it also because they used to find it harder. So in a way it's good that it is removed. Okay, so this is the second leg. And guys, the third leg of costing is techniques of costing. Again, don't go into understanding what is the difference between methods, techniques, what do you mean, why, how, all of it we are going to study in chapter 1. So the next 3-4 days that we are only going to do theory, we are going to be studying this only. Okay, so techniques of costing, we have 4: marginal, standard, budgetary control, and ABC is activity based costing. Okay, so our entire syllabus is divided into these 13 chapters, and this is what is going to be our sequence of study. We will first complete leg 1, then move on to leg 2, and then lastly finish leg 3. Is it okay? Exactly in this order. Guys, is that okay? Everybody? Okay. So we'll take a break now, and then I'll meet you after the break.